May your faith be greater than your fears. Hey, Jason here with a little word of encouragement today. Look, a lot has happened since last week when I recorded something for you, and so I've just got to insert this piece. I am on my series today through January, as I promised, Better Decisions, Fewer Regrets. But I find that I have to insert this piece on a particular theme today because of the violence that happened in our nation's capital. Now, rest assured, I am not here to editorialize on politics. I'm not dissecting current events. There are plenty of people that you can listen to who do that really well. My responsibility is to encourage, to inspire, and to coach you to keep your faith focused first, okay? Keep your faith filter on first and put that in front of your filter for politics or business. You know what I mean? A lot of people see life through certain lenses, and some people will put their political identity or that lens or that filter first, or their business identity or their economic advantage or whatever it may be. What it is for us as people of faith is to put first on that lens of seeing life and everything, every relationship, every dynamic. No sector of life should be separate from, compartmentalized, or divided from God. Your walk with Christ should be first and foremost. And better decisions come from putting what should be first. Put it first as a priority. So let me speak about it because I've been hearing from some of you and you've been fearful. So I'll speak about all this in that regard of fear. When we allow fear to kind of take over, become sort of the first thing that we're mindful of, preoccupying our thoughts, it's much more difficult to make better decisions. Sure, there's a place for right fear. That is, I know because of my fear of getting hurt that I need to make a wise decision when I cross the street. What? Look both ways. Absolutely. So you understand a proper role for that. But too often, we let our fears get magnified and they get out of perspective and they overshadow our faith and our decision making. It says in the Bible many times, God says, do not be afraid or fear not. Jesus says it as well. It's one of the things he says when he comes back as a resurrected Christ. He says, peace, do not be afraid. In fact, do not be afraid occurs over 100 times. God says this to us through the scriptures. Now let me get at it from a different angle. In the Old Testament, there are many names for God. One of them in Hebrew is El Shaddai. You can go to Genesis chapter 17, verse 1. God speaks, offering his true identity to Abram. He reveals himself and says, I am God Almighty. We hear that translation in English. I am God Almighty. You also might find it rendered the God Most High, most powerful. El Shaddai has that word power in it. And so I like this alternative translation of the Hebrew. El Shaddai could also be rightly rendered, I am the empowering God, the God who gives power to people. This is very interesting, I find, because often we are back on our heels in fear in life, and yet we have with us the very presence of the empowering God who empowers us to become so much more than we often think we can be. We have the power of God with us to overcome our fears, overcome obstacles, overcome the hate or the division or the difficulties that we see in life all around us. You have power. Lean into the empowering God with you and become more a person of faith first than anything else. And as you lead your life as one who is looking at life through the lens of faith, putting on your filter as Jesus follower first before anything else, then you become the empowering change that you want to see in the world. May your faith be greater than your fears.